They don't recruit spies, they recruit true believers. The CIA doesn't want someone chasing a paycheck. They want someone who still believes in something bigger than themselves. That belief is what makes you useful. And it's exactly what they'll use against you years later when you finally learn what you were protecting. This is how it quietly began. Phase 1. The recruitment. A professor mentions your name. A recruiter calls it public service. Nobody says CIA out loud yet. You get a coffee meeting, then another. Questions about your family, your finances, your loyalties. They're already building a file on you before you've said yes. You feel chosen, special. Most people never get this call. Nobody mentions what you're trading away. The polygraph comes next, then the background check that reaches into your childhood, your college roommates, your old girlfriends. Strangers now know things about you that your own parents don't. You sign paperwork you can't discuss with anyone, not your spouse, not your best friend. The hidden cost arrives quietly. Your life stops being fully yours. Every future conversation now has an asterisk. You tell yourself this is temporary, a phase, something you'll explain later when it matters. It doesn't feel like a door closing. It feels like a door opening. But somewhere behind you, another one just shut for good. Phase 2. The cover. Now you need a story that isn't true. A job title that means nothing. An employer that will vouch for a version of you that doesn't exist. You rehearse it until it's boring, until it sounds like every other answer at a dinner party. Family reunions get harder. Old friends ask normal questions. So what do you actually do? You give the same flat answer every time. You watch yourself lie without flinching. That used to bother you. The hidden cost is intimacy. Real closeness requires truth, and you no longer have any to give. Your spouse learns not to ask certain questions. Your kids grow up thinking dad's job is just boring. You start compartmentalizing without meaning to. Work self, home self. Neither one is complete. You tell yourself this is the price of the mission, but the mission hasn't even started yet.
Phase 3. The first assignment. The orders come down, a target, a country, a window of time. This is what you trained for. This is the moment you signed up for. You pack a bag that doesn't look like a bag for what you're actually doing. The work itself is slower than you imagined. Watching, waiting, small talk with people you're quietly studying. You start noticing your own instincts sharpen. You read rooms differently now. You trust less. The hidden cost is your baseline for normal life. Small talk becomes a tool, not a comfort. You can't turn that off when you come home. Your first real success feels quiet, no parade, just a debrief and a new assignment already forming behind it. You realize the job doesn't reward you with peace. It rewards you with more responsibility. And responsibility in this line of work only moves in one direction. Phase 4. The escalation. The assignments get bigger. The stakes stop being abstract. You're no longer observing. You're making decisions that affect other people's lives, sometimes without ever meeting them. Sources depend on you. Your judgment becomes their safety net. You start losing sleep in a specific way, not insomnia exactly, more like your mind never fully powers down. Your relationships thin out, not from conflict, from absence. People stop expecting you to show up, so eventually you stop trying to. The hidden cost is your certainty. You start seeing gray where you used to see clear lines. Right and wrong get complicated when national interest enters the room. Somewhere in this phase, you see something you weren't supposed to see. A memo, an order, a pattern that doesn't match what you were told the mission was. You file it away the way you file everything. But this one doesn't stay filed.
Phase 5. The discovery. You find out the mission wasn't what you were told. Maybe it's a program exceeding its legal boundaries. Maybe it's a target that was never who they said. Maybe it's evidence your own agency lied to oversight committees. You reread the documents twice, 3 times, looking for a version where this isn't what it looks like. There isn't one. You go to work the next day like nothing happened. You still answer emails, still make small talk in the break room, but something has shifted internally and it won't shift back. The hidden cost is your innocence about the institution you serve. You believed you were the good guys without qualification. That belief doesn't survive this phase. You start asking quiet questions, testing colleagues, watching how supervisors respond to hypotheticals. Nobody notices yet. You make sure of that. But you've crossed a line only you can see. You're no longer just an employee. You're someone carrying a secret about secrets. Phase 6, the internal struggle. For months, you do nothing. That's the part nobody expects. You keep working, keep collecting evidence quietly, almost as a private ritual. Copies, timestamps, names. You tell yourself you're just documenting, not deciding. But every document you save is a decision. Your marriage absorbs the tension without understanding it. You're distracted at dinner, distant at night. Your spouse assumes it's stress from work. In a sense, they're right. The hidden cost is your peace with your own choices. You lie awake running scenarios, report it internally and lose everything, report it externally and lose everything. You try the internal route first, a trusted supervisor, a quiet conversation. It goes nowhere, or worse, it goes somewhere you didn't intend. Your name starts appearing in conversations you weren't part of. You realize the system isn't built to hear this from the inside, which leaves only one path forward, and it's the one you were trained your entire career to never take. Phase 7, the leak. You make the call, or you meet the journalist, or you copy the files onto something that was never supposed to leave the building. There's no dramatic music in real life. Just your hands, steadier than you expected, doing something irreversible. Once it's done, it's done. There's no version of tomorrow where this didn't happen. You go home, you eat dinner, you act normal, because normal is now the most important performance of your life. The hidden cost is the countdown that starts the second the information leaves your hands. You don't know how long you have, days, weeks, you just know it's finite. You start noticing surveillance that may or may not be real, cars that linger, calls that drop. You've spent years learning how people get caught. Now you're the target of everything you were trained to do to others. The story publishes, and your old life ends before your new one has a name. Phase 8, the exposure. Your name surfaces, maybe leaked by investigators, or you come forward yourself before they can frame the narrative first. Either way, the anonymity is gone. Federal agents show up at your house or your office, or they simply wait outside, patient in a way that feels worse than shouting. Your phone starts ringing with numbers you don't recognize. Reporters, lawyers, old colleagues who suddenly have opinions about your character. The hidden cost is control over your own story. Other people are now deciding what you meant, what you intended, who you are. Your family finds out from the news before they hear it from you. That conversation is one you'll replay for years. Former friends go quiet. Some publicly distance themselves. A few, unexpectedly, don't. You're no longer an intelligence officer. You're a headline. And headlines don't get to explain themselves. They only get reported on. Phase 9, the fallout. The legal process begins and it moves at a pace designed to exhaust you. Charges under the Espionage Act maybe, surveillance of your every move, your assets frozen or frozen enough to matter. Lawyers cost more than you have. Support comes from strangers who see you as either a hero or a traitor, rarely anything more nuanced. Your marriage doesn't survive the pressure, or it survives in a form that barely resembles what it was. The hidden cost is your future employability. No agency will touch you again. Most private companies won't either once they run your name. You spend your days preparing depositions instead of living a life. Your identity narrows down to a single event, repeated in every article, every interview request, every whispered introduction at a party you probably shouldn't have gone to. Some whistleblowers go to prison, some go into exile, some simply disappear into ordinary anonymity, forever marked by one decision. Whatever happens in the courtroom, one verdict has already been delivered outside it. You will never be the who you were before this began. Phase 10, the legacy. Years pass, the news cycle moves on, the way it always does. You're still here, living whatever life remained after the trial, the settlement, the pardon, or the sentence. Some days you're invited to speak, a university, a documentary, a podcast like this one. You give the same careful answers you gave the polygraph years ago, except now the stakes are reputation instead of clearance. Other days, nobody calls at all.
The silence after relevance is its own kind of sentence. The hidden cost, by now, isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's the ordinary things you can never fully get back. The trust of certain family members, the career you trained a decade for, the version of yourself that once believed institutions protect the people who protect them. Somewhere right now, another recruiter is making another call. Another young officer is being told this is public service. Another oath is being signed with the same quiet pride you once felt. They don't know which phase they're in yet. They never do until it's already behind them. The cycle continues.